Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mego Museum Mint Off Card. It's been a while since I did one of these, and I'm a little late with this guy, but I really wanted to talk about this figure, Kang the Klingon from the Mego Star Trek line, because it's special to me for a couple of reasons. The first reason is how I got him. Recently, I paid a visit to a Toys R Us store a couple of towns over from me. I must have gotten there on Stock the Mego Day because it was just brimming with new product. I actually hadn't planned on buying toys that day, but I decided to go home with at least one figure. I don't know what it was. Maybe the concept of only getting one, or that whole section of brand new Mego figures, but for a second, I was 6 years old again. I haven't felt that way in a long time. It is, how you say, intoxicating. And it was tough to choose, but I eventually chose Kang. I have one on pre-order, but I don't know when that's ever going to arrive due to all this supply chain stuff. The reason I chose Kang was his lineage. This is the second reason. You see, back when I started working at the Mego Museum, it was a rather dry period for Mego collecting in terms of anything new being offered. You had vintage, the odd thing like famous covers, or, playing Mantis to Action Jackson. Dr. Mego himself was still an intern, so mostly reproduction parts were resin, and if you wanted a costume of any sort, you had to find someone to sew it. We had to make our own fun, and the art of customs was really integral at that time to Mego fandom. Talented folks on the message boards would craft, our own dream and fantasy figures. And one of the brighter spots was what we called the McDunsels, a series of fantasy Star Trek figures made by two individuals, James, who would do the sculpting, and Dave, who would do the painting and sewing. They would do limited runs of figures with cards made by a fellow by the name of Chad, or you could just buy the heads, and it was all just for fun. This Kang is a McDunsel. In fact, a lot of the original series Star Trek figures from MC and Mego have been. Both James and Dave have worked in some capacity on retro figures for different brands over the years. And, well, this is what we dreamed up all those years ago in those barren times. So, even though I did nothing other than watch it unfold, there was just something so satisfying about 20 years later buying this figure in a store. It was like seeing an old friend. So who is Kang? Well, he's one of the few Klingons on the original Star Trek series, and he was played by genre superstar Michael Ansara, who also played Kane on the Buck Rogers television series and voiced Mr. Freeze on Batman the Animated Series. That also got a few action figures. Kang was in one episode called Day of the Dove, and it's considered a classic, and seriously, one of the best of the problematic third season of Star Trek. It seems most Klingon episodes were classics, though. This is a highly anticipated figure not only because of the popularity of the character itself, but because it is a more screen-accurate version of the Klingons from the series. I've always loved the original Mego Klingon, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's a childhood favorite, but the outfit does take certain liberties. So taking a look at the card, it is the standard Paramount style guide that's found on a number of products. I'm not a super fan of it, but it's not a train wreck. I just wish there was a little more energy to it. The back of the card is lovely with a great iconic photo of Michael Ansara as Kang, and the credits read consultant Dr. Mego, sculptors James Brady, and seamstress Rachel Baker. These are all very familiar names. It's now time to remove this figure from the card, do a silly montage, and then we'll talk about the figure. Hang tight. So there you have him, Kang the Klingon from the Mego Star Trek original series. A few thoughts on this figure. One, I think the head sculpt is amazing. I always have thought it was, but it perfectly captures Ansara. And the factory has done a good job of translating that original custom into this figure. Look-wise, it's a real home run. It not only captures the simplicity of vintage Mego, but it also really captures the actor. You know exactly who that is. So I'm especially fond of that. The other win for me is the uniform itself. Mego, due to the scale and the way it's done, has always traditionally tried to simplify an outfit. And that's hit or miss just by its very nature. But this one, they really got it right. This is a fantastic simplification of the original series Klingon outfits. I love the glittery pants, the vest, and I love the sash and belt even. I had to tighten the belt up a little on mine, but that was fairly simply done. And then, of course, let's talk about armaments. This figure actually comes with a Mego scale replica of the Klingon Disruptor. For those that did collect classic Mego or play with them as a kid, we always just got a red version of the phaser, which I totally adore. But if you're going to go and do something like this where you're adding more detail, I was really pleased to have a small replica of the Disruptor. That's really cool. It's a cool looking weapon, and it fits nicely in his belt. It's really one of my favorite things about this figure, and I applaud that. I mean, I get it. There's some people who just love the red phaser, and I do too, but this is a really nice touch. The boots are made of this soft vinyl, and I've noticed that on some of the superheroes as well. I kind of miss the hard plastic of Megos of yore. I'm not sure the reasoning. They do somewhat look like real footwear, so maybe that's the reason. It's the aesthetic, but I would be curious to know why they swapped. I have nothing but good things to say about this figure, and I'm very happy with this purchase. I really welcome any new original series Star Trek characters, especially when they're from episodes that I absolutely adore, like Day of the Dove. What's your thought on this guy? Let me know in the comments below, or you can hit me up in our Facebook group, Megomania, or at the forums at megomuseum.com. Thank you as always for watching. If you're new to this, I hope you'll consider hitting like and subscribe. We do this every week. Until next time, take care, be well, and buy what you like. Cheers.